just finished my day at work. Just got home. I am a little bit tired, so I apologize if I sound just absolutely exhausted, but it's because I am. So, anyway, today, many of you may recognize this plane here. I've got a video up on it already, the Ki-44. And what many of you who play the game may already know is there's actually two Ki-44s in the game. Today's video is actually not about this Ki-44. It is about this one. Now, this is the reason I'm bringing this one up is because this is a perfect example of what can happen to an aircraft whenever they go through some modifications. And I'm just going to pull up the stat cards for both of them here so that you can see the difference here. This is the first Ki-44 that I did a video on before, and obviously it is spaded now. And if you look at the stats on it, I mean, overall, I mean, it has decent speed. Its turn time is great, and its rate of climb is also great. This is a very solid aircraft. But now we're going to look at the next one down, and you'll notice that it is a good deal faster. Its climb rate isn't quite as intense as its predecessor, and it doesn't turn quite as well as its predecessor, but the speed that it has, and as well as the armament, more than make up for it. This thing, I thought this Ki-44 was good. This one is a monster. And today we're gonna pull up a video from the replay system because I played this battle last night, and whenever the plane was basically stock, it wasn't completely stock. I had the offensive armament and the radiator installed. And since then, I used one of my boosters here, and I finished spading the aircraft because I was having so much fun with it. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that this Ki-44 here, the one for today's video, I think its battle rating might be a little too low because you still find yourself up against like I-15s, Chaikas. I think it may need to. I think maybe 3.0 would probably be a more suitable battle rating for it, so you can get it out of the. So you can get it away from the biplanes, because this thing really has no business going up against biplanes. It just clubs them. It's a seal clubber at that battle rating. But nevertheless, whenever you get into battles against equivalent aircraft to it, aircraft that can actually keep up with it, it is really fun to fly. So we're going to go into the replay system here, and I will provide commentary over the replay, and I'll let you guys enjoy it. Okay, so we're going to watch this for the perspective that I had whenever I went into the game, but also at the same time, I'm also going to show you the kills that I get from a different camera angle as well. I'm going to come into this again, and I'm going to show it to you from the hover cam so that people can get an idea of what it is that the plane is actually doing as I'm maneuvering into position to get these kills. So for the initial time I get a kill, I will using the my editing software, I will put in another angle of that kill, just so that people can kind of get an idea of what the plane is doing, because I realize in this camera view it's really hard to tell because you can't see any of the plane. All you see is my HUD. Now, one thing that people may notice from this camera angle is that the angle that I'm climbing at really isn't all that extreme. There is something that I've noticed from people who try to climb in these planes that have these really good climb rates, such as the Ki-44, is that they tip the nose of the plane way too far up. You know, their angle of climb is way too steep, and as a result, they get up to altitude, they meet the enemy up there, but they're moving too slow to maneuver. And that's one thing that a lot of people just don't seem to understand, is whenever you're climbing in these planes, it's not about how steep you can get the nose of the plane pointed up. It's about how much speed you can maintain, because your airspeed is going to help you climb as well. The lift over, or the air that's going over the wings generating lift is going to naturally push the plane upward. You let your wings do the work for you. So I keep the nose of my plane, whenever I'm climbing, I keep it at about 15 degrees so that I can maintain some airspeed, and that airspeed is going to help me get up to altitude faster. I've actually noticed that I make it up to those higher altitudes much faster doing this than I do tilting the nose up any higher and then having to level out, regain my speed, and then climb again. I can get all the altitude I need in a sustained climb just by using this method right here. And at the same time, whenever I get up to altitude, I still have enough speed that if I run into any enemies up there, I can do something about it. Okay, so I've made it up to 11,000 feet. I've already spotted multiple dots out in the distance, so I know where the enemy planes are. I believe up ahead I saw a couple of bombers. And you can see right in here, there are several other dots down low. And I decided, as a fighter, I should probably focus on other fighters, especially given that I only have 450 caliber machine guns. I'm going to leave the bombers for planes that have cannons, if they have, or if they can get them. So here I've spotted my first target. It's a MiG-3. He's climbing and he's at low energy. He fell victim to that issue that I mentioned earlier. He's climbing way too steep and he can't do anything about it. And there he goes. He's gone. Okay, so I've spotted the MiG-3. Just kind of keeping track of him, and I notice that he is climbing at a very steep angle. Very low on energy. So I turn into him. Closing distance pretty rapidly here. And he doesn't have enough speed where he can maneuver out of the way. He used a sitting duck. And that's it. Okay, so immediately after getting the MiG-3, I notice an I-15 down low, and I dive onto him, and I clipped a part of his wing, but I get an assist for that. Somebody else comes in and finishes him off. So I now focus my attention on the I-16 that is chasing one of the float planes. Using my energy, nose over, fall in right on his 6, scored a few hits there. He turns back. I used the speed that I had to get back up to altitude, up over the top of him. I'm not going to turn with him, because this plane cannot win in turn battles. I line him up. There's kill number 2. Okay, so this is immediately after killing the MiG-3 from earlier. There's the I-16. But right now my attention is focused on the I-153. I take one pass at it, knock a chunk of his wing off, and an A6M2 comes in and finishes him off. So that's the assist. And then immediately I shift my attention to the I-16. using the altitude advantage I have, put myself into a dive to get on his tail. Put a burst into him. Immediately pull up using the speed I gained out of that dive to drop back in on him. Come around again. And knocked his wing off. I then shift my attention to this MiG-3 over here. But he's taken out by some of my friendly units. And that's it for the fighters. I had a really good team this time around. The fighters were focusing on fighters. We knocked all of them out first. Now the bombers are all that's left, and they're pretty much helpless against all the fighters. I mean, look at how many friendly units are still around. I mean, we completely obliterated the other team. So here I'm using the same climbing method that I mentioned earlier just to get back up to higher altitude. Notice I'm maintaining about 220 miles per hour. And now I have altitude over my targets. Now granted they are all bombers, but still, you know, having the altitude to be able to convert it into speed when I need it is still useful. It's very useful whenever you're trying to get away from the gunners on these bombers. If you're moving too fast for them to be able to track you, then they're probably not going to hit you. So there's an SB-2M directly in front and low. So I decide to line him up, but he's coming towards me, or he is now. So I'm going to come in from above and behind, try to get a shot in at him, and I do this intentionally so that if I end up getting the kill here, I can immediately shift my attention to the SU-2. But I don't get the kill, so instead I use the speed that I gained out of that dive, climb back up to altitude, roll the plane over. I come in from a different attack angle, and there's a fire. He is going to burn. Okay, so I have the SB-2M in my sights. The SU-2 down low, shooting up ground targets. I reduce throttle here because I'm already going really fast for this plane. Don't score any hits. Or I did score some hits, but I didn't get any crits. I throttle back up, use the speed I got out of that dive, come up over the top. Come in from a different firing angle. I light him on fire. Now that fire is ultimately what's going to be what takes him down. Come right over the top of it, and he's gone. Gone. So now I shift my attention to the SU-2. I fire a quick burst and then I realize he's going into the mountain. I get credited with the kill there. Spotted the SU-2. Put a few rounds into him. And into the hillside he goes. Running really low on ammunition, and I find a plane spinning. I put what was left of my ammunition into him. I get a crit on him, but the kill goes to somebody else. I get an assist on that, and I walk away from this battle with 4 kills, 2 assists, #1 on the scoreboard. And here we have a look at the results. Like I said, first place on the team, 4 kills, 2 assists. This was one hell of a battle. And remember, in that battle, the only modifications I had unlocked on this aircraft was the radiator and the ammo. Everything else still had some work to do, but I had so much fun in that battle that I activated one of my RP boosters here and completely spaded the aircraft, because this thing is a lot of fun to fly. So anyway, that's gonna do it for this one. If you liked what you saw, click down below on like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.